Hi, welcome to week 3 of Awaken Living. This week we are going to be talking about and doing automatic writing, which is a way of receiving guidance and messages from those that are not physical, and just being open to it is truly is life-changing. It is a form of channeling. It is just a really great starting place. Um, you can connect with your higher self, loved ones, ascended masters, angels, anyone that we would be able to connect with in any other way. This is all of the love is still available and comes out just the same. And so this is actually one that you'll find a lot of people who do receive guidance, even if they are verbal channels, if they're mediums, if they're healers, you'll find that many do automatic writing just as their normal practice. And so, just to keep in the flow. So I do want to say that we will also be going over just ascended masters today, who they are, different modalities, and how they all just really tie in together, and connecting with the divine and all there is for us to experience. And so just get everybody to loosen up, take a few deep breaths to start, and remember, just loosen your jaw, loosen your body, take a deep breath in. And when you're breathing in, try to get it down deep into your belly. Just set the intention for being open to receiving today. Yes. And so I am going to jump in with let's start with the ascended masters. They are who we would think of as like Jesus, of Buddha, of Krishna. There's quite a few ascended masters, beings that came into the physical form and essentially mastered the beings of the divinity, that the power that we all hold within us, and truly just over lifetimes coming into experience and expanding more and more and more until still coming back and gifting humanity with their lessons, that are carrying through and still coming and connecting with us in these ways and still guiding us. It's very beautiful and touching to think that out of all of the souls incarnated, and all of the lifetimes that and all of the dimensions and all of the what ifs and all of the places that you can imagine, they choose to come and focus in and give us guidance in the moments that we need it most. And I personally grew up in a church. My mom is a youth pastor, and I was raised very much to think that I was separate than God, and I was essentially just born into human form, and that was a sin. The moment that I was born, we were just created in sin, and so, and the separation, and so truly, Jesus came and taught the message that Christ is within us all, the divinity is within us all. And we're here to remember that and to connect with that and to lean into that and trust that. and truly take that light, that divine light that is within us, and just expand it. And it's like creating a grid, like on the earth, if you can imagine, of light. And essentially, when you hear people talking about the new earth, it's not a destination, it's not, it is the shedding of the old to where the grid is fully connected into the light, into the Christ consciousness that is within us all. And it's exciting. It's happening, but I did go through personally my dark night of the soul. Came after my sister's transition into back into spirit, and well, not back into spirit, but and expanding back and leaving her physical body, because she was not raised in a church. She was not, I didn't, she was not raised in the same way that I was raised, or in the same home that I was raised in. My beliefs, my beliefs in that moment that I had been taught my entire life was that she wasn't going to be in heaven, and the same Jesus that I would give my entire piggy bank to, because why would I give 10% to somebody who gives me 100%? Was my mindset at 4 and 5 years old, that I would go and lead an entire camp at church camp as a child, and to all of these children going and laying hands on leaders, the Jesus that filled me with this fire and this love, how and just so much compassion for others and the world and nature and the smallest things, but my sister. And I couldn't, I never did accept that. Um, and so at that point, if somebody were to mention Jesus or God to me, I completely just disassociated from the conversation. I just said, well, there's not a resonance here. And this was again, coming from very strong ties within the beliefs that I grew up with, of being separate, and that we had to earn our way into this place, so that we didn't suffer for eternity. And so, and knowing that my sister was not having that experience, that truly did, like, it just threw me for a whirlwind. And that time is whenever, again, dark night of the soul is, who are we? What is this? What is my purpose? What is, like, how, what is the point of life? Is this all? And so all of those questions and everything that I believed in truly just came, nothing made sense. And over time, I began to realize that those were conditions, and those were beliefs, and those were interpretations that an entire group of people carried through time, and that they carried them with me, and they held a beautiful place in my life as long as I needed them. And whenever it was time to release those beliefs and the fear wrapped around them and the limitations wrapped around them, I did. And it came into my reality, presented a time, an instance to come into my reality, and to take something that I had so wholeheartedly attached to, my entire life, you know, of being told one thing, it had been pulled away, and something drastic had to happen for it to pull something so deep seated away. And so in that, I truly did begin I took about a year and a half to 2 years before I was able to really truly connect with Jesus actually through automatic writing and channeling and receive messages that it was not as I had perceived it, and that the messages and the beliefs that I grew up with, it didn't need to define anybody else's experience. It was just simply that, a belief, and it was mine to release. And so I did. And in that sense, I truly did find the mastery in all of the different realms and the master. And it wasn't just Jesus that helped me through that. You know, there was so much guidance, goodness. I connected with my grandfather, um, who is my spirit guide as well. And um, he was a big part in guiding me as well, even my sister and her parts in it. And so it's truly just being open and understanding that we wouldn't have an emotion behind something if we didn't have or hold a belief about it. And so, in understanding that if there's a belief, there's some sort of experience usually tied, or conditioning, or something tied to that experience or that's creating that belief. And if you're able to truly just work through that, then you can break down some of the barriers that we might put up in connecting with different beings of different dimensions. And so I truly am just, I'm closer with Jesus. Well, I can't say closer, but I am more open with my relationship and more encased in this relationship that I have with Jesus now more than I ever have. And it is truly just beautiful. And I'm just so grateful for it. And so another realm is the angelic realm. And so there are what's the word? Guardian angels. There are archangels. There are, the seraphims with all of the, depicted with all of the eyes. There are many different types of angels, and they all, the same with ascended masters, they all kind of tune into, and like focus in different things. They may come in, you may even notice the same with any of these, that they come and go in your life as you are going through different periods. And I don't mean like, well, one day I might do this, another day I might do this, and just different every single day. But if that is your experience, and that is your experience too. There's no right or wrong way. This is just truly just my experience and my understanding with those that I have taught, and also gone down this experience and journey with myself. And so um, there are different, so let's say, Jesus is known for healing. And then there is Gabriel, who is also known for healing and working with animals, I believe, and and connected with like nature. And so, if there is Raphael, who is connected with, kind of protection and different things and senses. And so knowing that you can call on these beings and ask that they also aid you in those moments. You don't, knowing that they're always there for us to be able to call on, but know that they are also in every moment doing everything, sending the guidance. But when we are calling on it. It's like we're opening our awareness to what they are sending. And so I'm not saying, hey, don't ask for it, but simply even just tuning your awareness into it. But if it's something that at this point, perhaps it's a confidence thing and you just feel comfortable asking them to wrap their lights around you, then that is whatever it is that makes you comfortable. This is your journey. Again, I'm going to say this over and over. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever feels good for you. And so, and knowing that, you can, your loved ones, if you're wanting to connect and, with something, imagine your grandpa or your, uncle or your parent or, your cousin or even a childhood friend, and knowing and imagining the most softest kind of love, the most tender kind of love, that whenever they would embrace you, it's just like there's just it's almost like you could taste a warm cookie melting in your mouth whenever you would hug your grandma. When you connect with that, when you connect with a pet who has come and shown you in physical form what unconditional love is, what true mastery and just freedom and enjoyment of life is, when you connect with you, when you go to, talk to Jesus and you drop into your heart, or you go and you pray to God or source or whoever, whatever it is that you identify as the all that is, when you go there and you are in that feeling of safeness, of security, of your mind isn't anywhere else. It's not thinking about, like, at an hour drive home when you're in the middle of hugging your grandma or your mom bye, or your sibling, or any of those that we love. Or if you had one more time to hug or pet your beloved ones on the other side, there's no way that you're going to be thinking about all of the other things, because it is just, you're so engulfed in all of the light that you share with this person and the connection that you share with this person that never ever goes away. It's just, you're simply tuned into it. And so, and knowing that, and in that moment, the same way that you don't worry about other things, know going into that you don't have to worry about anything now just because it's non-physical, because that light that radiates within you, that light that you ask the angels to wrap your car in, to wrap you in, to wrap your children in before you send them to school or off to college, that white light is truly coming from within, and it expands outwards. And so imagine it as if nothing that isn't as bright or brighter can penetrate within that light source, within those light walls, to see you at the center of it, the source of it. Nothing can penetrate through that. And so knowing that as you are in this, let's say, glowing orb, glowing cocoon, it's where caterpillars go to evolve, where they go to grow. And once they enter that stage, there is no turning back. There is no going back into a caterpillar and not wanting to spread your wings. It is the natural evolution. And as you go into that cocoon, knowing that what's not meant for you is not coming within that cocoon, that is where you will go, and you will grow wings. And as you spread your wings, you're going to fly. And that is a safety that you can always ensure that you have. And know that whatever's not a vibrational match for you cannot you cannot perceive or experience, meaning that let's say that you hold the beliefs that there are things out, that you might call in and you might connect with. The thing is the intention that you are setting before, the intention that you carry, the fact that you are here on this journey of expansion with us, loving yourself, feeding the light within you, nourishing the light within you. Of course, you're going to, of course, you're going to just radiate at such a high level that none of those things that are coming across your mind will ever be able to perceive. And so we can go into this. We'll do a dropping into our heart space with some deep breaths and clearing our energy field, and understanding that we have all that we need. We can call in anyone and anything at any time to aid us. And so, for whatever reason, whether it's to receive a message, whether it's for some extra layering in our cocoon, so truly just, being comfortable with where we are in this journey, and knowing that also your love for these things, or these people, or perhaps it's a tree in your backyard. I actually, the first time that I channeled a non-living, well, in terms of like a human or an animal, um, was my tree in the backyard, and I every day still go and sit on that tree and meditate with that tree. And it's so funny that a year and a half to 2 years later, after writing that message, somebody asked me the specific question that the tree had given me, and I would have had no idea. And so I'm going to share that with you later. It's just funny how it all unfolds, and truly it is a good also point on trusting, trusting what comes through. And so we will, be going over again more of that, but um I do want to say that when we are connecting with our loved ones or our pets, you know, something maybe perhaps, let's say, tangible within our 3D, physical reality. Um, really being able to focus in on like the love that you had with them in this lifetime, or your beloved, your human beloved ones. When you focus in on that love, knowing that the messages that they come through is also an empowering them and their souls enough to know that they are capable of bringing these messages to you and accepting them. And when you go back and you read them, truly just knowing that this is not something that you would say to yourself. Generally, these are messages of encouragement and love and patience, and not hustle and bustle and drop off lines and meetings and phone calls and laundry, or guests coming over, or baseball games, or, whatever it is, the grocery list, any of it, bills. That is, usually where you will find that your mind tends to go with your to-do list, and thinking that even that must be done before we can sit down and have this time to to write. And so it's knowing that whenever these messages come and they say, all is well, you are so loved and so unconditionally supported in all that you do, and you are doing an amazing job and in the perfect place, truly knowing that that's not how I would talk to myself back then. My dialogue, my internal dialogue has evolved, obviously, as I have evolved, but I know back then I didn't say those things to myself. And so whenever it would come through, I was like, well, this is a little mushy, but it was also validating and proof that it genuinely was not something that was coming from my own physical, let's say, ego mind, my human mind of where I think every day with. And it was the intention and focus in on connecting with loved ones or my higher self. I believe my very first writing was actually we did a dolphin as a group. And it was really amazing to watch. I took a live course with Sarah Landon, um, called You Are a Channel, and it was truly life changing. It was the foundation of created the foundation for me to begin building on, or truly I had actually kind of already started building, but it gave me like an extra set of foundation and just helped me release so many limiting beliefs. And so um, the first time that I took this course, there was 1,500 students in this class. And at the same time, we all connected with the dolphin consciousness, and we all received the same messages as we put it in the chat and the call in real time. And it was just truly, at that point, I was like, there's no way that 1,500 people just channeled the same message and this is not true, and I'm one of those people. Oh my gosh, I can talk to animals. It's but what it is it's I can talk. I am energy and I communicate with energy, and there are no bounds to that for me. And so I truly was also guided not to put labels on myself, because that they could be limiting. And I do find that I gear a lot towards mediumship, but also mediumship will open up different messages for channelings or healings, or maybe my story of my own healing might open up different conversations that and then a loved one steps in or a pet steps in, or and brings a message through about their health or something in that sense. And so truly just understanding that we are energy, and that there are no limitations to what we can experience beyond what we place on ourselves. And those are always able to just be released anytime that we choose. And so I would like if y'all would choose a master, a beloved pet, or a spirit. It can even be a river. And ask if you have your pen and paper ready. Um, ask, let's see, in this moment, what message do you have for my highest good? And truly just being open to whatever comes. If it is a pet that you're connecting with, whether it's living or not living in this world anymore, whether it's a loved one, it could be your conscious and your own higher self. It could be an ascended master, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, any of them, don't forget the angels are always available. And if you do not have anyone specific, or if you've had any past life regressions or any kind of messages where even people from the past you've experienced those, perhaps even tapping in for guidance from those, and saying, what message of guidance or what message do you have for me today? And the most important thing that we can do in this moment is trust what comes through. Don't judge it. It's okay if it sounds silly. It's okay if it's short. It's okay if it's a whole page. Whatever comes is perfect. And so if you can, we're just going to do the exercise where we drop from our head down into our heart. And so if you have your pen and paper ready, let's close our eyes for a moment if you can, and you're in a safe place to do so. And so let's close our eyes, take some breaths in. Focus on that light that comes from within our heart. And we're just going to just push it out as we take our breaths. The staircase goes from our head and it circles down, down, down into our heart. And we go down the stairs slowly and gently, holding on to the rail as we approach the door at the bottom of the stairs. You place your hand on the knob and you open the door. As you open the door, this warm, white light begins to shine on you. As you step into the door, you see that you are encased in white, warm, divine light. And in this place, you know that you are safe. You know that you are all that you need. And in this place is where we call in those who we'd like to receive a message from in this moment. And as we focus in on their incoming, you can see them approaching us, full of love and so much excitement that you have come to hear and receive. And as they run to you, you run to them. And so we're going to open our eyes and stay in this place where we are meeting, and put your pen to the paper and write their name, or if you don't have a name, or a specific being or person that you would like to connect with. Just say, what guidance is in my highest interest for today? What guidance is in my highest interest today? What message do you have for me today? And just either one of those, and just trust what comes. Give you a few more seconds. And so if you are done, that is awesome. And if not, then you can keep going. That is okay. Just feel free to pause this and take your time. And so another important part of these messages and my experience is reading them aloud. It's almost like hearing like when you read it or when it's coming to you through you, it's one thing, but to really go back and read, it's you almost will get things that you'll be like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing afterwards, and how it truly all just goes together. And so really to just encompass it and get the full effect of it all, please do go back and read your writings. You can read back over them immediately, sometimes, next day. Sometimes for bigger writings, you might need a day to integrate what was coming through before you can go back and read it, or maybe reading it then and going back and reading it again a couple days later after you've integrated and in that aspect. And so however it works, however it feels good for you, whatever it is that gets you to the next to the next point on your own path. But again, it is not uncommon to be surprised by things within the writing when you do go back and read it. And so, and truly, when you go back and read it, you see so much the difference of it's almost as if you were writing a love note to an innocent child. That's really what it feels like a lot of times is. And that's not how we would normally speak to ourselves with the conditioning and the judgment that we had grown up with and the beliefs that we had picked up along the way of our journey. It's just truly is amazing to just pause and be like, wow, that was very sweet. And so, and again, that's a validating aspect of it as well, that it's not just coming from you. And so, and really just trust. And so, I did want to say that keeping these journals, doing this, if you can do this every day, once a day, it takes, if you can do that exercise of dropping into your heart space, the more often that you're doing that, the quicker you'll also be able to get there and quieten your mind and create from the space of quiet, and stillness. And so, um, if you're able, the more that you are practicing dropping into your heart space and connecting for these messages, you'll find that they just come easier and quicker. In fact, in this time, I usually just close my eyes and take a couple of quick breaths, and it's just a very quick process. Sometimes I can just take a breath or two and already just begin to feel the change. Sometimes before I even get the breath in, and so. If you notice that your body has sensations within it, that is also very common as the energy is moving through, through you, in a sense of how we would perceive it in our human concept of, it's flowing through you. You're allowing that energy to come and pass through, almost like picking up the messages through it as it, crosses the crossing points. And so in the codes and you're decoding that through your writing. And so, and through the channelings and through the messages. And so it's just such a magical experience. If you are open to sharing with me your writings, I would be more than happy to receive, to receive them. If you are feeling that you need a little more guidance and help in this area, please, please, please feel free to reach out. I'm very believe that I very much hold the belief that our information, even whether it comes from me, whether it was Jesus and I was in the time that he was living, and whether it's my parent, whoever it is, I go that's giving me information and guidance. I go within and I feel for my own answers and my own truth in the matter, and knowing that I am going to follow my truth and my intuition and my guidance that I'm receiving internally, far quicker and actually beyond what I would receive from anybody else. And so, not to say that they don't play roles in me receiving the information, but always going inward to validate any kind of information you receive. And this is just a tool, again, that is very accessible for just anybody, to be able to pick up a pen and paper and just, get it out. And you'll find that sometimes it comes in the middle of the night. You wake up and you just feel like you need to write. And it's very good that you do when you're in the middle of the night, and then you do the writing, because it'll be like a dream. It'll fade once you're up and tangled in your next day. And so I did say that I wanted to share my writing with y'all from my first non-physical meeting, which was Rudy. And again, this was almost like a conversation that I was having with him uh, towards the middle. I'll tell you whenever I started asking the questions. And so I just connected with Rudy is the tree, by the way. It is my favorite tree. And so Rudy said, "You do not need eyes to see, a mouth to eat, legs to move, or hands to wave. We are connected in this life and outside of it. You create the air for me and I for you. We are all but resources to the earth and each other here. People doubt the abundance of these resources, creating fear, a lower vibrational experience. All will be provided for. All is provided. All is always provided. I am capable of being many things for human, but few leave me standing." And then says, "This is where I began to ask the question of saying, okay, you can be if people want to build and put a nail in you for a fort or something, does that hurt? Do you feel pain in the sense of, like we would imagine?" And it says, "We don't feel pain." And I say it because it's more of a masculine energy, but it's also um not in the way that we think of like man and woman. And so obviously it said, "We don't feel pain in the same way as humans. So when you put a nail in me while building a fort, I do not suffer. The laughs and games being played around me raises my vibration." And so I thought that was such a neat perspective of saying that it doesn't one feel the pain of something going within it, but the joy and the fun and the love and the memories and the experiences created from that, what we would say, does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. He doesn't, it's not perceived as pain the way that we would perceive it as pain. And that goes back to when you think you know another's journey, you always cause your own suffering. And it's again on a minute kind of scale, thinking of if we were to judge that tree and say, oh my gosh, that poor tree, we're hurting the tree by like doing this. But knowing that we're in that moment, we're not feeling happiness and joy and love. We're feeling, oh, God, oh, that poor tree. It's so, powerless in the situation. We're feeling, we're judging the situation. We're feeling, we're sending out victim vibes and just lower vibrational things instead of saying, that is a sturdy tree and it's just so grateful for that tree and the experiences that we're about to have on it. And that is the perception that the tree is holding versus the perception we're holding. And so we're creating suffering for ourselves while we're holding ourselves and those emotions. And the tree is like, bring it. And so that goes to creating your own suffering. I'm thinking, another's journey on a minute scale. I know that, especially in today, there are different, much larger scales going on in the world, that some may apply that to. So, and then my next question for it was asking if it could be anywhere in the world, like in a forest full of trees, in a rainforest with lots of cool animals, why did it choose my backyard? Like, would it choose to be in the forest if it could? And it said, I am right where I want to be. And I thought that was so beautiful and so grounding in true nature of nature. And so the point of it is I could have just said, yeah, that's like kind of anybody could have kind of wrote that. Well, anybody could have if they're, we're coming from a place of love and understanding. I really did find it to be super cool. Like I said, 2 years later, whenever we were putting some nails and well, kind of steps on the tree, in a tree, and my children's father is saying that he's like, I don't want to put nails in the tree. I don't want to hurt it. And I was like, well, it doesn't. He goes, how do you know? And I was like, well, they told me. And it was so funny because I was picturing when I wrote that question, I remember picturing the nail going in the tree, and it was very much the same size, same shape. And, I've never built a fort or anything. And so it was just funny to watch it all come back and again validated in the way that I was allowing the validations to happen. And that was just one with the tree. There are many other types of writings. There were so many in the beginning that just talked about being loved and supported and loved and supported and trusting and but here is the deal is those were things that I honestly needed to hear over and over because I had heard the opposite for so long and I had trusted and believed in the opposite for so long that it took that much for often it is that way for humans, in this experience to need to repeat things over and over to truly get it. And so don't judge it, don't create resistance around it. Just let it be. And again, if you have any questions, if it doesn't come through in full answers, that's okay. You can always go back in and take some more deep breaths, going back in and doing the stair exercises, even if you already done it, if you're not finding that It's coming is easy. Maybe going and sitting outside for, 10 minutes, going and just, you know, laying down with your eyes closed and quieting your mind for a few minutes before, and just truly allowing yourself to experience what you came here to experience. You came to remember who you are. You came into this experience to experience the magnificence that you are. So just allow yourself and trust yourself and allow the guidance to come through, because it is there. So I'm so excited again, for all of this. This is week 3. Um, Next week, let's see, I believe we are going to um oop, be talking about the channel, like, and caring and maintaining our day in and day out practices, as well as our bodies and how we maintain them as an extension of our consciousness, and how maintaining our bodies truly does also play a role in our awareness, like in our awareness of our day to day. And don't worry, we're not gonna, like, it's not about cutting anything out or anything about that. It's just simply consciousness and awareness. So come with a snack, that's okay. I am looking forward if I get any of y'all's sample writings. If you, again, feel free to reach out with any questions if you need any extra guidance, or if you just don't think that it is anybody else, it's just you writing this stuff, then send it over and we can talk about it, because that is what I am here for. But guys, I will see y'all next week. Thank you again. And I'm just, again, so excited for us. See ya.